Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's going to be tough after a practitioner's view of the world, with a lot of use cases around AI, what is being solved, what is already being solved by BML, and it's going to be difficult for me to now talk about some of the things, but my goal is going to be more on, I'm going to make it a little more specific, because from the morning, we've been hearing about AI, what is AI, what is it going to do, are we going to lose our jobs, and so on and so forth, and different perspectives, some great insights from all the speakers. But the focus of my part is going to be dwelling into a very detailed topic, because we all love to be detailed, right? We are all cost accountants, finance folks, we are into the details always, so we love to be more into the details and talk very specific on a few things. So first of all, how many of you have heard about DeepSeek? Okay, that was an easy question. Many of you have heard about it. But what is the relevance of DeepSeek with respect to our institute? What is it like? Any guesses? What? Cost. Exactly, right? So why did DeepSeek make such a big news? It's all because I could do the same thing with less cost, right? It's all about cost management, right? Obviously, the goal is that we are going to keep getting that, right, as we move along. Now, I want to start with a small analogy. We all have taken some medicines. Obviously, we all can relate to it. So we have this concept of 3 types of medicines, right? One medicine is painkiller. So all of us have to take painkillers sometimes. It's very critical, and it's always kind of something which is required. And then there is a vitamin. Many of us probably don't. I've never taken a vitamin tablet, but of course, sometimes I do take, but generally vitamin is not something, we try to get natural things from to get that vitamin. And then there is the third one, which is vaccine. Vaccine totally eliminates some things, right? So just to give you a perspective from technology in that context, think of painkiller. Painkillers are our billing systems or automation systems, things which we have been used to, where you will get, it is required. You cannot live without an ERP today, or you can't live without an Excel spreadsheet, so on and so forth, right? So that's kind of the painkiller part. The vitamin is nice to have. And you know, today, or at least in the past, when we talk about AI, we think it as a vitamin, right? Oh, okay, it's a nice to have aspect, right? But now, at some point in time, this vitamin converts into a vaccine, wherein it is no more a nice to have, because it can eliminate some things you may be doing in a certain way, and it is there is a new thing which has come in, and it could make you do it in a different way. A classic example for that is WhatsApp. I'm sure all of you use WhatsApp. I don't think anybody can live without a WhatsApp these days. What was that WhatsApp moment, right? WhatsApp really eliminated multiple things. It eliminated obviously a lot of the phone calls in a big way. It eliminated the SMS. We used to get all this SMS. Now also we get OTPs in SMS and all, but that's also kind of gone into WhatsApp. So WhatsApp completely eliminated one category, right? That's that vaccine moment. And we see that we all feel, and we have to be geared up to face the reality with AI. We are going to have that vaccine aspect in all parts of our business work as well as our personal work. And it's already there. A lot of places, AI is eliminating how things are done. But that was kind of the analogy here. So yeah, that's me. And I'm going to start off with this particular graphic here. We talked about AI and Gen AI. My focus is going to be primarily with AI in the context of finance professionals. We are all finance people here. I'm sure there are few non-finance people. Anybody who's non-finance here? No, okay, that is great. So all of us are finance. And finance, as we all, and cost accounting especially, we are all into numbers, number crunching, and we are left-brainers. That's kind of the way always, we are probably good in math, that's why we got into ICAA and all this kind of career. We are very good in numbers, we are good in data, we are good in all that analytics and things like that. But there is this right-brainers, right? As you can see, actors or creative people, musicians, these people are generally right-brainers. We've all heard about this left and right brain stuff, right? So, what is the right brain part is the Gen AI. Like the traditional left brain has been the dominant with all the AI which has been there for many years, which is to do with numbers and analytics and learning from all the numbers, doing things like you're forecasting your weather, you're forecasting your Google route from A point to B point, so on and so forth. It's a lot of math, but the math needs to be, why it was there all along, but why it became such a huge moment with ChatGPT? It's because it brought in that storytelling element. You started telling a story with the data, and that's where it's very easy to converse with the information which is there. And for finance, I'm sure all of you agree that the storytelling part is more and more important to communicate to different stakeholders. I'll have to go and communicate to my board. I'll have to communicate to my shareholders. I have to communicate to my employees. When it is all about the numbers, well, I'm very strong on the number side, but I have to go and talk to analysts. I have to talk to several different stakeholders, bank, tell the story of what was my performance of my company and what is it going to be in the future is a very important aspect. And that's where we see that the AI is always going to be a marriage of this traditional classical AI, which is all about numbers and number crunching, coupled with this generative AI, which is all about the storytelling part. So if that is one thing from this session you can take away, that's going to be helpful, because that's the part we'll have to start kind of thinking about AI. Now in terms of the finance function, Sir really talked about, already covered some of these elements with more detailed use cases, or where can AI be applied in the context of finance and business. Now, what I plan to quickly cover is a few things very much aligned to what is called generally as this whole cost management, planning, budgeting and forecasting area, right? Which is all about management, generally about kind of the management accounting part or the management areas. So one is people want to be able to do a lot of things have to be automated. You will want to do automation has been there for many years, but can you make it intelligent? So can you bring that element of AI? And I'm going to cover quickly all that with some examples. And then when it comes to that automation, we talked about analysis, like business intelligence was a buzzword maybe 10, 15 years back, right? Where people said, oh, you want to have this dashboard, you want to go look at the data. All the finance guys will go and look at the data, they'll drill through to see the details of the data and then take actions based on that. Now, what can AI do is, can I automate that analysis? Because I've got all the data, can the system tell me what are those exceptions? So that I don't have to go dig in as a user, I don't have to go dig in to find those issues, but the system really pops up the important ones so that I can quickly take action on them. Like for example, variances. Variance is something we keep looking at, right? What is my variance between 2 quarters? What is my variance between my budget and actuals? What is my variance between this product and that product? So on and so forth. So in terms of profitability and cost. So all of that I can surface using the data science, because all the data is there. You apply AI on top of it and then bring that insights, and you can look at Gen AI to ask that question like a co-pilot. How many of you used co-pilot in Office? So Office, the Microsoft Office now has co-pilot where you can ask questions to that particular Excel sheet or that data or in the PowerPoint. So it's conversational, so you don't have to again find out where the data, what is the issue, right? So how can you embed and get that? So that is all the automation part. The second one is the future. The future is always difficult to plan, right? Now, Sir talked about how traditionally, I've got a slide on that, but very important thing is how can I use AI to really forecast better, forecast reliably, forecast, I wouldn't say accurately. Accurate is a very difficult goal to achieve, but can it be reliable? Because can I use all the data to get my forecast instead of just a hunch or based on the brains of a few folks, finance folks and the business folks to come up with the forecast? Can I take more data? Like one of the things is that, can I take the total market potential? Like if I'm selling, I'm in the business of cars, can I look at what is the overall car demand, right? How many people are there? So I could bring a lot of different drivers, and AI helps you get as much as data you want and then try to come up with a better forecast. And then all of this then can help in actions and helps in better collaboration and helps in also getting that feedback back from the humans who are part of this process, but they are all collaborating with all that information in there. So one of the things is kind of like, I don't want to cover a few things, but I'll just quickly cover that automation of analysis. Somebody talked about insights. So insights is a very important thing where I can automate and find out what are those issues, what are those anomalies, what are those basically variances, and what are the correlation. Like you're all into the cost element. So what is correlating to what, right? Like if there is an increase in certain, let's say, if there is a sudden increase in the maintenance expenses, what is it because? Maybe there was some plant shutdown or there was some shutdown in electricity, so you might have to go for diesel and so on and so forth. So there could be multiple different correlation because a certain expense has gone up or some revenue has come down. That could be because of some reasons. A competitor has launched a new product, so on and so forth. So how can I correlate? So once I have the data in the system, I don't have to, it's very difficult to find out all those insights, but it could just kind of generate and get you those insights. And in the cost area, cost and profitability area, again, you want to know what are the drivers which are kind of driving the issues in your cost. And we talked about, like Sir talked about the allocation part, right? How can I ensure that I pick the right allocation drivers? Now today, when you do allocations, a human is involved there who is telling that this is how I have to allocate the cost to different areas, right? Whether it is by the customer segment, I want to look at the profitability by customer segment, or I want to look at the profitability by product, or in case of airlines, they want to look at the profitability by routes, each route, how is it profitable, but I need to then charge back all the cost to that. Now, those kind of charging back and finding out the total cost and to get to the net margin, net profit, by those various contexts is a very difficult one to be done in an automated system, in a human-driven system. This is where AI can be a big kind of area. And when it comes to this whole planning, budgeting, as I said, it is not just you want to be able to do planning across different areas, take your operational data, you can take your financial data, all that, come up with your plans, and you want to do costing and profitability there, and do that inside discovery and take actions around it. So that is an end-to-end process. And if you look at this slide, you really cover that you need different size of data, right? For each of the functions, people want to do different styles of planning. For example, some finance obviously does it on a monthly cycle, quarterly cycle, whereas sales would like to do it on a weekly cycle, manufacturing obviously on a daily cycle, and in supply chain. And if you look at HR, they would like to do it at a more longer term, like they are looking at skills, future skills, their style of doing things is quite different. But all of this is all planning. Each department does it in Excel or some way they are doing some planning to be ready for taking care of the business. But how can you all bring all of this together? And AI can certainly help in that whole, what is generally called in industry as connected planning. Now this one is really a slide which we would like to cover, where I wanted to say that how traditionally people have been doing budgeting and the traditional forecasting. They have been doing, back in the days when I started my finance career, we'll do it manually in Excel. I was fortunate to not do it manually, really in a paper. I started off with Lotus 1, 2, 3 in Excel. But at least you start very manually. You'll put in some numbers and things like that. Then came things like, I want to plan numbers based on trends. What was my past expense or revenue? I'll put a 10% growth, or use some simple kind of math to come up with my plans. Or I do drivers, like what are my business drivers, and then how do I drive my outcomes based on those drivers. Now, this is where the planning context is now evolved to starting to use AI, where you could start using statistical algorithms. To begin with, that has been there for 20 years now. People have started using statistical forecasting methods to come up with their forecast. And then machine learning. Machine learning really takes it into consideration, lot more data to come up with your forecast. And that is where you get into this next generation of planning and forecasting, because then you have now an additional data point. Now, gut might be saying something, but your data, based on all the data, you might be looking at a different data point. Now finally, humans or the finance people have to make that call, or the business leaders have to make the call what the plan is going to look like. But AI is a facilitator, better facilitator, because your decisions are now going to be enabled with data. That is kind of the powerful one, where the financial planning and analysis function, corporate finance, costing, all these functions have evolved to pick up AI in a bigger way, and you can get more data lying in your ERP system, your other systems, wherever your point of sale systems, whatever be your industry, you could get a lot of data, and you can also get some market data. You could take economic factors, economic data like inflation and GDP and consumption factors, and build that into your in your forecast. So the allocation, I talked about the whole allocation process, and you could really also, one of the important things with prediction, when you do prediction, the concept is a black box for finance, right? When something is predicted, so there's some numbers coming up, and we don't know how that number was arrived at, because there is algorithms running and getting you that results. So one of the very popular concept of that here is that what is called as ML explainability, machine learning explainability. If you guys want, you should go Google ML explainability. ML explainability is a huge concept which helps in explaining your predictions or your outcomes better, so that you can trust the data. You can also measure when we say there is an accuracy, we keep talking about, oh, the prediction gives very good accuracy, like gives 90% accuracy. How do you trust that you can rely on an AI prediction? The best way to do with a finance outcome is go do something called a back testing. So you go and look at your past. Let's say you take 3 years, last 3 years, take the first 2 years and predict for the third year. But the third year already has happened. And then you predict with these algorithms and see what was the actual results, because you already have that actual results for 1 year. So you can then say, oh, there is good accuracy between what was predicted and what is actual. So that really gives you confidence that, oh, these algorithms, these AI is helping me get a better outcome. So I can now trust it for my future predictions, right? So that's kind of the piece there. Actually, I'm going to skip this part.
In this demo,
it's a demo, but it's available publicly. But one of the big use cases, and Sir talked about it also when it comes to AR and part of the working capital cycle, is cash forecasting. Now, cash forecasting is such a powerful, required thing in business, right? Like, as you all know, when COVID happened, it was a nightmare to manage cash. Like, we always had shortfall. Most businesses ran out of cash. And it's very important that many large companies, smaller companies, they are really looking to optimize cash. How do I best understand what is going to be my cash position based on all the data I have in my system? I could have order data, I could have my invoice data, I could have several other kind of upstream data in the system. So maybe I've got a subscription contract, I've got, like for example in VML, they may have a 5-year contract, right? They know that potentially there is going to be cash flow coming every year so much, right? But all of that today, maybe you'll have to do it in some Excel, you'll have to bring all that data and not use AI. So here is where you could really take AI's help to figure out whether, based on the attributes of your customers, will this customer pay in time or not? Or if you are getting some money in a certain currency, whether that currency is money, because sometimes when you are getting some money in certain currencies, there could be a delay. Or geographical aspects. Some countries generally tends to pay late, right? It could be a knowledge AI can learn and tell you. or this method of receipt. Maybe you are doing a lockbox, or you're doing a bank transfer, or you are doing a credit card. Depending on the receipt method, there could be an impact on the forecast. So all of this could be learned by the AI system. Now apply that on the data, and it can get you a better forecast so that your buffers are reduced. One of the biggest challenges with cash forecasting is people just buffer up some cash because they don't know, they can't accurately forecast the cash. They try to buffer and keep some crores of money just idle in the bank account, right? Because I don't know what is going to come the next, maybe I'm not very sure what is going to be my cash outflow and all. Or you might have to engage some 15, 20 guys doing that work, or it is done in a very not a very regular cycle. So you could do things like cash forecasting using AI, which is a very powerful use case for artificial intelligence. And then sustainability. Now, there is a session after this on sustainability. Sustainability is such an important topic. And again, when it comes to targeting what's my carbon targets I want to achieve, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 targets I want to achieve, I can again use AI with all the data and figure out when can I achieve those targets based on that, or what actions can I take to go and facilitate that. That's again is a very good use case. There are several use cases I'm not going to touch upon, but one of the other factors I want to highlight also is events. How does events impact my planning? Like there could be some events. There could be black swan events which I don't know, right? Like COVID happened or some other event happened. But there could be some events which I know. Like there is, let's say, a Cricket World Cup happening, or some events, or the regular festival seasons, right? So many industries, it could be a factor which you could factor in as an important element and come up with a better plan and a forecast. So all of this now, as humans, there are many intelligent people who will do all these things, but it's always not possible for one human to learn everything, right? But what with AI you get is, you have some expertise in one area, but the AI can augment it with other expertise you do not have. And then together you can do a great job with what work you have. And the challenge, of course, what we see is the adoption of AI. While we keep hearing all this buzz, people are still reluctant because it's a change management issues. Basically, back in the days, people would be, I was kind of telling somebody during lunch, my mom used to be a banker. She did that manual bank ledgers and all that. Some point in time when computers came, she had to get trained on computers, and she was like baffled with all that, right? But then eventually she learned and she could pick up and do that. So, but that change management, we'll have to really embrace that, because AI is going to stay here and it's going to be a key element of that. And we've got some kind of obstacles and what you can do to overcome that obstacles here. But finally, I'll wrap my session with this slide, that AI is on its own is not great. Human on their own are great, but really they are not like, they have to kind of look at using technology. But human plus AI is greater than human or AI. That is the core aspect we need to consider. Human plus AI is greater than either just the AI or just the human. We have to pick up AI. There is no other way out. And with that, I will kind of end my talk here. But thanks for listening to me patiently. Thank you.